Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Real View. This is real views from real people, and this version is just the review of film, TV, and who knows, maybe someday music. But in this episode we are looking at Gladiator II. I went to see this and it was another blockbuster epic from director Ridley Scott, and a long-awaited sequel maybe. We'll find out. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're enjoying the movies where you can, and TV and all that kind of stuff. My name is Miles. I'm your host, by the way. If you don't know, subscribe to my channel. You can like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button on my channel to stay up to date with any videos and all I've got going on. This episode, as all episodes are time coded, so feel free to time travel throughout the episode if you want to skip ahead. If you want to avoid spoilers, there it is, right in the bottom in the description, so you can follow the time codes there. And yeah, like I say, follow and hit me up. Okay, so Gladiator 2 is a film we're looking at today. This is starring Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen, Joseph Quinn, and Fred Hechinger. Also you have Jacobi returning, Lior Raz, Alexander Karim and Matt Lucas in this one. And this is of course directed by Ridley Scott, written by David Scarpa and Peter Craig, based on the characters created by David Franzoni from the original film Gladiator, starring Russell Crowe. Okay, now this sequel, let's see what I thought about. We're just going to get right into it. Here we go. Alright, let's talk about Gladiator 2. Big movie. Right, I decided to do synopsises like I did with the Real View show, so here we go. What's this all about then, Governor? Lucius Paul Mescal, son of Maximus, finds his new home taken by the Roman army led by General Hechinger, played by Pedro Pascal, and is forced to return to Rome as a gladiator under the ownership of Maximus, played by Denzel Washington. What will become of Rome's forgotten son? Well, let's talk about it. I sort of studied the trailer a bit just to make sure I wasn't spoiling anything. But this movie, man. Like these movies, like epic in scale, epic in duration, I have to sit with a bit, just a bit to see what I really feel. And initially, like, I did enjoy this movie. Very long, but I did really enjoy it. My only thing is like this, having made it my kind of a mission to try and see a lot of films this year. I'm getting a bit weary of just sequels, prequels, this extended franchise machine that Hollywood keeps sort of churning out, trying to put the safe bet on a known thing rather than taking a risk on something new. And it's not to say that new films aren't out there, but I feel like they're harder to see. They're harder to get pushed to the front. I saw Heretic not that long ago, and it was exciting because it was fresh, it was something new. And that's not to say that every new movie or property or whatever is gonna be interesting, but like, let's make some new stuff. Let's see some new stuff, see more new stuff, and I'm hoping to do that in the future. But yeah, sometimes just seeing these movies alone can be very hard. But that rant aside, initially I was like, why is it gonna be tied in? Why can't it be a new epic or whatever? But like, the first movie was so good, and it's a lot to live up to, man. It's a lot to live up to, and I do not envy anyone on this at all. But I'm sure like Ridley Scott might have had a continuation of this story. I think there's a few videos out on YouTube about what Gladiator 2 initially was planned as or whatever. Shout out to Bullets and Block Stars. I'm sure they probably got something on that. But I guess maybe he was just waiting for the right story at the right time, or a combination of both, you know what I mean? But yeah, overall I think this movie did it justice, It sort of it pretty much matched the hype. I mean, you got some epic actors in there. You got Denzel Washington eats it up in this, man. He is solid in this, as he normally is, you know what I mean? Pedro Pascal, does great. Connie Nielsen back as well, and obviously Paul Mescal, great lead, man. It's all working. It's all working for me. Like, I don't think there's anyone who's bad in this. Joseph Quinn, great flipping villain. Same with Fred Hechinger, as the two emperors. Just like great. The way it's like set up, I think is just really good. And yeah, like I say, it's just epic, just really long. And like before I went into this movie, I was like, where? Like, I had a gig before, and I literally came from the gig, did a bit of shopping, and then came, and I was hungry, man. So I got some food, and food ain't cheap these days. But then, right, I went to this place. I went bait them out, but I went to this place and I got an iced mocha. £11.80 it cost me for an iced mocha. I was like, I'll get, I'll just get a coffee in the cinema, whatever, it's fun. But I was like, nah, let me support small business. Iced mocha for £11.80. I was so shocked, I couldn't even question it before she started making it, you know what I mean? £11.80. Like, what is life right now? You know what I mean? Flipping heck. It wasn't even that nice. But it did the job, I guess. Anyway, back to the movie. Yeah, it is a really good one. I think it's possibly one of the best movies I've seen this year. But yeah, it's a lot of movie. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say it felt really long, but and there wasn't necessarily any part of it I would necessarily want to cut out. But yeah, it was long, obviously, but it was good. And yeah, I don't know, maybe they should bring back intervals in movies. But yeah, what was I going to say without spoiling it? Like, some of the scenes you see in the trailers, some of those Colosseum setups, really cool sequences, look really dope. CGI kind of having come a long way helps with some of the effects in this movie. I kind of I wouldn't say I missed the practical effects in the first movie, like 20 years ago. That movie, like over 20 years ago, the first one was. Like, see, it's mad. But yeah, it's I wouldn't say I missed the whatever, but it's like, you can when you're watching something that's not real, but for the most part, it's done well. And yeah, it looked decent, you know what I mean? Okay, so yeah, overall, great movie, tapping straight to my veins. All right, into spoilers now. Like I say, Joseph Quinn and Fred Hechinger play Emperor Gata and Emperor Carcalla. They are twins in this, and yeah, just as with almost like they're in many ways they're worse than Joaquin Phoenix's character, but because they're so I don't know, they're kind of like children, yeah, in a way, where Joaquin Phoenix sort of he showed the maturity to him and whatnot. I mean, in particular, talking about children, Fred Hechinger playing Emperor Carcalla was very much more childlike, It was clearly he had something a bit wrong with him. Like, clearly his character has mental issues. But yeah, it was like he was very easily manipulated because of it, and which would just played right into Denzel's Maximus's character's hands, you know what I mean? And I'll get to Denzel in a minute, but those two they were not likable characters, They were set up proper as villains, and, they were there for you to be hated, and hate them I did. But, yeah, they did very well. Denzel, let's talk about Denzel, man. Legendary actor. One of the greatest of all time. And he eats it up in this, man. He's got a lot to play with, and he plays it well. Seeing his rise to power. And what's interesting about his character as well is that he's really just a product as many are in this film, a victim of Rome, a victim of the Roman Empire or the colonization that was really, as we see in the first movie, was, spearheaded by, what was the character's name? Not Macronus. Whoever the emperor was in that first one, Lucilla's dad, is still Joaquin Phoenix's father. And this, colonization is just evil, man. Just greed and power, greed for power, and but yeah, he's really a product of that. His whole being, the whole reason he is where he is because he was taken, as many were by this empire. Difference being he found a way to climb the ranks, whether it be socially or through acquiring gladiators and whatnot. He found a way to work out his freedom. You're not really given the full story on that, but and just plays the game and plays it really well, But he is a villain of Rome's creating, and he I guess I think the best villains are the ones that you can kind of see where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Where they're, you can be somewhat sympathetic to them, and that's what Macronus's character is. The character of Macronus is, Denzel gets to play this guy who is clearly not a good guy, clearly doesn't have great intentions, but you can see why he is the way he is. And that's not to say that every movie needs a villain like that. Sometimes you can just have a villain who just seems evil for no reason or whatever, or it does not explain they're just bad because they're bad. But I think in this instance, you needed a villain like that to be compelling, a villain that has reason for being a villain, and Denzel absolutely kills this role, and it's just really interesting to see the way he plays against just plays people, just really almost like he's playing chess with these characters, the way that he gains the trust of the emperors and then uses that against them, gets to this point where the mob, as it were, of Rome become restless because, and Rome is just decadence, just overconsumption, but for the wealthy. And I feel like you see a bit more of Rome and the society in this movie than you do in the other. But everyone is just sort of, there's a lot of people struggling, but the people at top are just living in decadence, living their best lives, their most hedonistic, whatever they want lives. And for that reason, the mob grow restless. The people grow restless. The people want, their people want food. Their people want what they need, and they're not getting that. And Denzel sees that, and he gets them to. He sort of raises it to fever pitch, through some of the manipulation and the actions he does, or the information that he gleans, and just the way he plays people, I just thought was brilliant. Yeah, you get the brothers to, it helps them, air quotes, to oppose each other. So, it's clear that Joseph Quinn's character is running, calling the shots. And, Fred Hechinger, like I say, his character is mentally unstable, and he used that to his advantage. So that was really good. Going on to Pedro Pascal. He wasn't in this movie as much as I thought he would be, but what he did in it was good. In the beginning, you basically see the army come in and take over Namibia, where Paul Mescal Lucius is hiding out at the moment, right? And so, Roman army come in to take it, and you can see after it's taken and, after all the damage is done and all the dead bodies, and you can see sort of the weariness of Acacius, just like how he feel, like how it's just worn on him, all this death, all this needless death and conquering and greed. It's just like you can just see he's sick of it. He's sick of it. But what's really interesting is the way he plays that, and then the way when he returns to Rome as a hero. It's like he plays the part of the thankful, gracious general to these brat emperors. But it's just it's kind of like in a way, some of it's there's like some similarities to the first one. You got the conquering, victorious general kind of like working for these emperors, wearily just wanting to go home and spend time with his wife, but not really being granted that fully, and then you got these people pushing for power. I think in this movie where it ramps up is because you already have the brats in power, whereas in the first movie Joaquin usurps his way to power. So you start off with like a kind of gracious leader, and then you just start with this rotten guy, this waste man. Or in this one, you just start off with two waste men. that's what you get. Connie Nielson also returns as Lucilla, and I thought, she did a really great job. The mechanic of her son being Lucius, at the time, I was a bit like, well, okay, I guess, it's got to tie in somehow. And I wasn't really aware that, I didn't, like, this just goes to show how much I pay attention to trailers. I didn't realise that Lucius was the Lucius from, because he starts off with the name Hanno, which has been given by his community where he lives now, and I didn't realise he was the Lucius from the previous one. They did have to, because they had to sort of film some flashback retroactively. They like sort of, you could see they used a different child for Lucius in the flashback. He even talked different as well, but I mean, it is what it is. It's fun, What are you going to do? You're going to get a guy who originally played Lucius as a kid. You can't. He'd be like a fully grown adult now. This is like 20 years later, over 20 years, you know what I mean? So, what are you going to do? But, no, man, just like overall, just a really good epic movie. If you like this kind of like blockbuster epic, it's good. Paul Mescal, he does really well, but I feel like there was a lot of tropey moments for his character. Like, I feel like he did really well in bringing some kind of light and shade to the character. Even in the moments where he was laughing or, joking around with his comrades or whatever. But then you also had the rage and the tragedy and stuff. But obviously, as the lead of this kind of movie, he has to make those big speeches, right? And for the most part, they are very compelling, but it's like, I'm very aware that he has to do the big speech. Oh, he's ramping up to do the big speech now. Oh, he's got to talk to the army now. Oh, he's got to talk to the people now. He's got to say the thing, And there was a lot of those moments. And in fair play, they kind of had to happen. If they didn't happen, it would have been like, it would have been a bit of a void in terms of inspiring people to do whatever. But I would have preferred more inspiration through his actions rather than through his words. But also, I mean, I might just be hating for no reason. It was needed, But yeah, overall, great movie. I really loved it. I would watch it again. I don't think it matches up to the first, but I think it is a worthy other story, I wasn't like, this can't compare to the first at all. I think it's a good addition, you know what I mean? So, tap straight to my veins. Oh yeah, also a shout out to Ravi, played by Alexander Karim. I really liked his character, man. He was really likeable. He's the kind of friend you want, you know what I mean? if you're ever, for whatever reason, in this situation, which, God please, never. But yeah, I really liked this character, man. He was really cool, and understandably questioning as well. You know, he wasn't just loyal for no reason loyal. He was very cautious and weary of everything that Paul Mescal was saying. Yeah, great to see Peter Mensah in this as Jabartha, the leader of Lucius's new home. And Matt Lucas is in this as the Master of Ceremony. Yeah, great job, man. He did it well. It looks really weird, but that's what he needed to do. You know what I mean? And what a slime ball that Farex was. Tim McInnery's character. That was Denzel's sort of man that he master manipulated to get the info he needed. But yeah, it was good. A lot of good characters in this, to be honest. Even those people that didn't have much screen time. You know, Arashat, Lucius's wife at the beginning, played by Yuval Gonen. Great stuff. And a lot of cool scenes in this, man. Like, a lot of cool scenes. Like, when in the first Colosseum fight where they're fighting the baboons, I was like, when I saw these behind the gate, I was like, what the heck are these things? And even when they came out, just this hairless baboon, that was just crazy. The way he had to fight that and, you know, bite it and all this kind of thing. It was just mad. And the way he had to choke it out, oh, horrible. The flipping rhinoceros, like, crazy, mad. The Navy ship fight in the Colosseum, like, what an epic thing to do, man. But the only thing I didn't get, because obviously they're not necessarily all captured from the same army or whatever, is how quickly they listen to Lucius's commands. But actually, there was that one guy in the Rhino fight that was not about it, and he paid the price, boy. So, boy, I guess yeah. After that, maybe you would fall in line. Yeah, so that was my thoughts on Gladiator 2. Huge movie, obviously, and another thing I forgot to say really was that it was, although I enjoyed it, it was kind of like, I kind of touched on it a little bit, but it is kind of like an unnecessary sequel, you know. Gladiator, for me, was just a great film, the way it was done and the way it sort of finished. You know, interesting to see the continuation of Rome or what it's become or whatever, but for me, Gladiator 2 is like Gladiator remixed, you know, with just worse circumstances for the lead characters or just worse villains, you know, and I guess it was still like an interesting film. I really liked it, but yeah, it wasn't like something that necessarily needed to be done, but here we are, and you know, I'm not better off for it or worse for it, but I still had a good time. But yeah, let me know how you felt about the film. Did you like it? Do you feel that the sequel was long awaited or one that they shouldn't have touched? They shouldn't have touched the classic. And what films are you looking forward to seeing these days? Are you going out to see Wicked? Are you having... What's the latest film you've seen and what you thinking? And remember, as always, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button to stay up to date with any other content I have on this channel and elsewhere. My name is Miles, and you can follow me at Miles Reviews on most places, apart from YouTube where Miles Reviews already taken. But yeah, Miles Reviews, that's Miles over Y. Check me out. I'm on most socials. Anyway, catch you on the next one. Take care. God bless and all the rest.